You got to move. You got to move, child. You got to move. When the Lord gets ready, you got to move. Yes, you got to move. You may be young. You may be old, you may be rich, child, or you may be poor. But when the Lord gets ready, you got to move. Yes, you got to move. Sing it with me now. You got to move. You got to move. Ooh, you got to move, child. You got to move. 'Cause when the Lord gets ready, you got to move. Yes, you got to move. You see that man walking down the street. Oh, he doesn't know it yet, but his time is at hand. Yes, when the Lord gets ready, you got to move. Yeah, you got to move. Oh, you got to move. Yeah, you got to move. You got to move, child. You got to move. 'Cause when the Lord gets ready, you got to move. Yes, you got to move. You think there's time, you may be wrong. Before you know it, child, your time is all gone. 'Cause when the Lord gets ready, oh, you got to move. You got to move. Come on now. You got to move. You got to move. You got to move, child. You got to move. 'Cause when the Lord gets ready, you got to move. You got to move. You got to move. You got to move, child. You got to move. 'Cause when the Lord gets ready, you got to move. Ooh, you got to move. That's what I'm talking about. It's been a little while since you heard from me at this Wednesday evening musicale, and that's because Mark and I have been moving from one home to another, packing up some boxes, moving the boxes, unpacking the boxes, and now we're settling in, and it's time for a musicale. But it's also Valentine's time, so I thought I would call tonight's program Moving in Love, because when you're in a state of love, you're in a state of movement and flux for sure. So we'll go from the actual physical moving to the metaphysical movement mentioned in that gospel song I just sang for you, to another kind, to the discovery, to the movement into love, into being open-hearted. And I'm going to play you a song that was written when I was being a bed and breakfast hostess, when I was being an innkeeper. And we were a small place, and just 3 rooms, so it would be a lot of times just couples coming for their anniversary, or a little group of friends that went someplace every year to hang together and have a little time. But what I love the best is if there was time to sit down with one of these couples for an anniversary, or sometimes a honeymoon even, but even better an anniversary, and say, so how did you two meet? How did you two find each other? And I'll tell you, that's a question that just opens up the floodgates. I had to make sure I had time to sit down with my cup of coffee and just settle in, because they love to tell this story, and they were at the bed and breakfast to do exactly that, to relive and continue living that story. So this song is kind of my thank you note that I wrote. Not so much particular people, but sort of just a composite of what it means to find love. It's called The Moment They Knew. Ooh, oh. It was foggy and wet and gloomy the moment they knew. They loved the irony in that, the utter clarity blasting through. That was years ago, but decades later they still can recall the sweetness flowing into the moment they knew they would fall. They were tired and sore and sweaty the moment they knew. Pitching camp, a small fire struggling the day's journey through. They saw those huge old trees leaning together so far above. They leaned into the moment they knew they were in love. The changes and all the mistakes, don't doubt the moment that brought you here, past every heartbreak. When times get hard, call back the power of that first glance. The storm will pass, you'll still be standing, ready to dance. It was still early before dawn broke the moment they knew. They talked all night with sleep a stranger, but wide awake with the truth. Or to hear them laugh, you might think that their minds had flown. But that was the cue, the moment they knew that love had brought them home. Yes, that was the clue. It brought him home. Ooh, the moment they knew. The moment, the moment, the moment they knew. The moment they knew. A thank you note to lovers who passed through my life. Well, there are all sorts of little poems that float around at Valentine's Day. Rumi shows up a lot, and Rilke shows up a lot. And, there's actually a really cool one. I can't remember. He's some obscure French poet. It's in this book. I have this big, thick tome called "A Thousand Love Poems," and I'm going to mention it because what I'm going to do next has to do with having fallen in love just over 9 years ago, and my heart was opened in a way that totally changed my life forever. And I immediately wrote some things, things were just kind of pouring out. And so this was my first kind of Valentine, actually, to my sweetheart, Mark, who takes care of all these shows, does all the audio and video, and I not only love him, but I'm grateful to him for being my partner in this adventure in the MUSICALE world. And, but so this poem up front has to do with absence, because at that point I was living 1,600 miles away, and it remained that way for a few years, actually, about half of our relationship, in fact. And so I love this poem. It's just so succinct. That's the thing about poetry. It's all about distillation. This is called Absence. Absence is to love, as wind is to fire. It extinguishes the small. It enkindles the great. So I was off in Minneapolis and composing my first Valentine card to my sweetheart, and I decided to write a poem based on the old-fashioned, the idea of wooing. You don't hear much about wooing anymore when you're talking like Tinder and all the other stuff going on. You're Tindering or you're doing this or that. But this is the old-style woo that took me into a little riff that I call woozology. Oh, you wily wooer, you cause me, the wooey, to go woo, woo. And your wooful attentions make me woozy. So woo away, and do not rue the day or the wooing, for it has hit the mark true. I would not eschew your woo. And if it's the last thing I do, I want to woo you too. Oh, let the wooing we be doing illuminate the wooless hold up at Lake Woo Be Gone, and blast them into the new day of the woo play, where we woo wondrously and our woo-fired ooze raise the bar on the music of the now formerly ill woominators. Good work and true. This elemental woo, not voodoo, just woo-doo. That's me and you. Woo! Well, I already know I love you. I cannot take it back. The river has carried the message, and the stars on their nightly track. And the birds from tree to tree agree a song should mark the day, and the moment of the dawning of two hearts, the timely play. You already know you love me. It's in your body's hum. It longs to join the heavenly song that's heard by only some. The silence finally lifted, first by murmur, then by cry. Oh, and everything that's bound by love is given wings to fly. Woo! Until your heart's been broken and then made whole once more, you may just hear a whisper through a barely open door. So let your heart come home again and let it sing once more. You just kick that door wide open, yeah, 'cause that's what love is for. Ooh, kick that door wide open, my friend, oh, 'cause that's what love is for. Yeah. That song's called Already. Sometimes you just know, don't you? Even if it takes a little while to figure it out. The song I want to play for you now was actually a song it was a song for hire. I was commissioned to write a song for a movie called His Neighbor Phil, a little movie in Zumbrota, Minnesota. And it's sort of evidence that they talk about how you can just sit around and wait for inspiration, or you can make things happen. And this is a song I was very happy with, that I never would have written if I hadn't been hired to write it. And it's a song about lasting love, love that's been around the block. And so it's called Timeless Love. Today I'll take your hand in mine and make a promise to entwine my life with yours forever and a day. It's always done that way. As long as lovers seek to be together till they cease to be. So let me say most gratefully that here with you is home to me. My dear, I thank the heavens above for sending me this timeless love. Ooh, oh. Our hands are joined to make a vow. It seems so basic, yet somehow so small against a life of ebb and flow, of places yet to know. Our joy and tears will light the way. Trust will turn our night to day. So let me say most gratefully that here with you is home to me. My dear, I thank the heavens above for sending me this timeless love. Let me say most gratefully that here with you is home to me. My dear, I thank the stars above, still shining on our timeless love. Yeah. Timeless love. Well, I wrote this next song way back in the last century, and there's an edgier love poem that I remember out of that book of 1,000 love poems. It was actually written by Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons. So as you can imagine, it's got a little bit of a twist to it, which goes like this. Love is a snowmobile racing across the tundra, then it flips over and pins you underneath it. At night, the ice weasels come. And sometimes love is indeed like that. But hopefully not for you, not for you watching now. Hopefully you're with the one you love in a wonderful way. But sometimes it takes a while to figure that out. And, my philosophy was always, before you can really say yes, you have to be able to really say no as well. You have to learn how to be selective. And that's kind of where this song comes in. It was written back in the 80s. So, during my full-blown feminist phase, and so it has some of that going on, but it still rings true for me today because, well, you'll see why when I do the song. And it's got a line for you at the end of each verse. You just repeat what I sing. not just anybody who can call me something sweet. For most, a cozy nickname is rude and indiscreet. So when some hulking lunkhead throws diminutives my way, my jaws get kind of rigid. I got nasty things to say. But when they come from your lips, those same names sound sublime. And you can call me baby anytime. That's your line now. You can call me baby anytime. Well, I growled at pretty mama, I groaned at sweetie pie, I snarled at little lady, foxy chick, it's not a lie. There's folks who think your knees get weak from oral saccharin. The more they drip, the more you flip, the more they're sure to win. Well, I just don't go for all that goo. It might as well be slime. You can call me baby anytime. Take it. Well, take all those wooden put-ems flung upon my weary ear. I'll tell you where to put 'em just as quick as they appear. Take all those whoopsie-poopsies that I cannot stand to hear. I'll tell you where to put these if it's not already clear. Some might call me honey, I'll just let it go. They call most everybody that, it's how they say hello. Others think that sweet words might disguise their sleazy play. However, I have got a charm alarm that blows them right away. Someone else might gush, I'll just treat it like a crime. But you can call me baby anytime, yeah. Scat with me now. La da bum bum tweedam, buzigret that let that bum bum doing with that in there. Yeah, you can start your talk and watch my temperature climb. You can call me baby, oh, you can call me baby. You can call me baby anytime. So you know what I mean now? It's just like, at this age, just don't call me ma'am. my principles have changed. Well, I think I'm going to wind up with a topical tune, and because it is a few days after Valentine's Day, just shortly after, and we all get all wound up and geared up for Valentine's Day, and then it's just ho-hum life again, right? But that's what this song sort of delves into. So I want to welcome you to be back with me at Wednesday evening MUSICALE. I'll be doing a few more of these now that I'm getting settled in. I did want to mention that this coming Friday night, just 2 nights from now, Sally Rogers and I are doing a concert for old songs in upstate New York, and you can find information about that on my website calendar, and it's also the info is also on Facebook. And as always, you can visit my donation station at my website, claudiaschmidt.com. It lives there, and all my CDs live there, and all the past videos, the musicals and concerts, most of the concerts. So I'm going to leave you with this thought, which is very timely. And thank you for being here with me again tonight. Pretty red hearts everywhere you go. Love is in the air, they say. Roses by the dozen, they're a steal, you know, for deals abound on Valentine's Day. But when the flowers have all been sent and the money's all been spent, well, that's the time to say. Will you be my sweet post-Valentine after the roses droop? When they take down all those roughly signs and Cupid's flown the coop. No more surf and turf for two, no more heart-shaped bed. I'd still like to dine alone with you and lie down toe to head. Will you be the one who tags along after the schmaltz is gone, happy with a quiet, sweeter song that calmly lingers on? I want no jump to Zanzibar, no getaway half price. I just want to be right where you are, your kiss my paradise. Will you be my sweetheart after all, right now and just enough? Let's just ditch those tricks whose charms enthrall. That's not the lasting stuff. No more smoke and mirrors here. That's not how I'm inclined. I just want to love you plain and clear. Please be my post-Valentine, my sweet post-Valentine. Happy post-Valentine's Day. Take care. See you next time. Good night. Pretty red hearts everywhere you go. Love is in the air, they say. Roses by the dozen, they're a steal, you know, for deals abound on Valentine's Day. But when the flowers have all been sent and the money's all been spent, well, that's the time for me to say, will you be my sweet post-Valentine after the roses droop? When they take down all those ruffly signs and Cupid's flown the coop. No more surf and turf for two, no more heart-shaped bed. I'd still like to dine alone with you and lie down toe to head. Will you be the one who tags along after the schmaltz is gone?